Hi there, this is Shubs. I'm just putting together a game in Claude Code, which is this simulation, and I want to share this with you to share the build. I've been exploring Claude Code, and it's such an amazing tool, so let's get started. I just thought, I've been using Claude Code for some time now, and I really like this tool. I really have, you know, I became a developer. I got to this point of like, I wanted to understand these things and I wanted to understand how to, put theory into like some form of skill. And I have been learning theory in general, economics, business, philosophy, anthropology, and just the different elements. I've always been perplexed by how human behavior works. So I've been using Claude Code for the last couple of weeks. I have used it to build out elements of my own business. Now I became quite curious because you can build games with it, but now you can almost build your own game and actually launch it or things like that. So what I thought is basically put my mind together to be able to have Claude Code create a game where I can actually simulate my own agents and be able to see what they are doing. So I kind of want to be able to build this economy effect or this system that allows me to put agents in an arena, in a container, and be able to see and simulate their behavior and simulate, like, be able to put certain conditions, and I want to see how it behaves. So what I've done is I've ideated with Claude up until now. It has helped me put together a plan. So what this is doing is I'm going to read through this. As I mentioned, this is what I got to. It did give me, I started off with a few simulations. As you can see, there's cellular automata, there's the game theory, strategic integration. So these are some simulations. The core mechanics are agents play iterative prisoner's dilemma with strategies, which is the TFT, defect, etc. So there's the prisoner's dilemma, and the strategies are the TFT and defect. Hawk dove, resource competition, aggressive versus passive actors. So I want to see how do different agents behave, and who eventually ends up gaining certain things. So I've always been curious about that. Contributors versus free riders in shared resource pools, fairness and reciprocity under self-interest, agent-based models, shelling segregation. So like agent moves when neighbors are two different, macro segregation. Agents gather sugar, trade, reproduce, wealth inequality emerges. Boyd's, this is flocking via three rules: separation, alignment, cohesion, predator-prey, population cycles. What's crazy is that my understanding of obviously computers, alongside understanding an element of humanity, I guess, like we are kind of in a massive game at the moment, and it's always been the case, right? Like with technology, that has just become a lot more, it has pushed it even further. So evolution and adaptive agents, genetic algorithm arena, agents will with encoded strategies compete, mutate. So it's put a plan together for me. It's asked me a few questions. So it's asked me, do I want it to be a game that I can demonstrate? So now what it's done is it's created a plan. So business agents with goals, leveling up through experience, growing resource pools that unlock better strategies in an environment where the interesting question is whether cooperation beats pure competition. So it's sketching that out. So the thing is, obviously we all watch movies, we all watch, we have a very cynical view and of the world. I get that there's enough cynical views there. You can romanticize, flirt with the cynical side of yourselves, but I want to be able to figure out ways where we can cooperate better. Us as human beings and animals, we have cooperated. It's, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, which has, led us to that friendly nature, that has led us to like laws of cooperation and be able to build a, system. And obviously people, because of the individuality, they, we all are, to a point, we have our ego. So again, I'm going into philosophy, but just keeping onto the surface of this game, I'll just start building this. So it's, proposed trade arena simulation. That's the entire setting. The actors are, each agent has a goal to maximize capital, maximize reputation, expand reach. And that's what I'm trying to do at the same time. So it kind of goes into hand in hand with what I'm also doing in terms of my business, which is maximizing capital, the reputation side, and also expanding my reach. So resources, capitals, goods, relationships, XP level gained through interactions, unlock better strategies, how they behave, hoarder, trader, partner seeker. So it's interesting, right? Where we see, in human beings, we see some hoarding behavior, we see some trading behavior, we see some partner seeking behavior. So what kind of strategy does a human being possess, right? So agents exist on a grid or network. Resource nodes are distributed, scarce but renewable. Each turn, agents sense neighbors decide to. And one thing I would say is that I've been listening to, and I've been following consciousness, just the topic in general. I've been listening to the Diary of the CEO, and he was talking about just in general, what is reality. I am just in that place where I am a software engineer, and I've seen, how software gets developed. It's almost a simulation in connection to us. So yes, this is what I'm trying to do. So what this does is level 1, basic gather and trade. 2nd, negotiation, better trade ratios. 3, alliances, pooled resource access. 4, reputation system, affects who trusts you. 5, coalition, coordinated multi-agent strategy. So this is the win-win tension. Trade creates surplus value. Neither agent can produce alone, but agents can also defect, take without giving. Long-term defectors lose access to the network, cooperators compound. So that's the win-win tension, which is, it's actually created it's just a one-liner, right? Where, trade creates a surplus value, neither agent can produce alone, but agents can also defect. But in the longer term, the defectors will be the losers because they will lose the access to the network. So, which is a very interesting thing, right? When us as human beings, we try to, we are always in our head. We are very subjective. We tend to focus on our subjective and own experiences first. But there is a wider world where, we shake hands, we cooperate, we rise up to certain challenges to help others. So this is an interesting step. So the output would be a visual grid with the agent states, pre-turn stats, cooperation rate, wealth distribution, XP curves, strategy leaderboard, which approach dominance over time, which is interesting. So it's like an emergent, agents are working towards an emergent theme. This gives you an explorable system where you can swap strategies, adjust scarcity, and watch them emerge. Want me to build this? It's going to build me this out to. So we're going to keep it simple. First, 20 to 30 agents, basic leveling, 2 or 3 strategies, and expand from there. Perfect. Let's do it. I'm going to let this run, and I'll be back once this has been cooked up. So as I build this, you can see it's running it's scaffold the simulation projecting structure, build a core agent, build world and simulation engine, and build visualization run. So, the thing is, why am I curious to try this out? Inherently, I'm just not inherently, but for the last couple of years, I have identified myself as a developer. I was always curious to work on these kind of projects, but I just, the level of coding that was required to build something like this would take time. So, even being ambitious, it becomes quite difficult to just kind of stitch everything together. But what's amazing is that Claude Code at this point, I've used AI technologies to build websites. I've used AI technologies to, simulate a business environment and everything, and be able to build content and do all those things. But there's, it's not just about, I guess, building an interface. I think our reality, our world is a lot more, there's a lot more transcendence across our world where we build something as an idea, and I think just building out web interfaces is not my purpose. It's to be able to go down this path where I'm able to actually understand the mechanics of the world and be able to, you know, influence the mechanics of the world. And this is a really interesting way of like simulating it. Like I can't necessarily just use all the resources to just start simulating, because I don't have all the resources, whilst a computer does. You know, I can use the resources on a computer to simulate the real world and then be able to understand and like model, like a scientist that, you know, takes data from the world and then simulates those models and simulates, you know, what would happen, play games to understand how something works. So this is my version of it, or my attempt. Okay, so just a quick one from a technical perspective. Like, you can see that it's created the world.py, which is a Python library, a Python file, and it's created move agents. So these are some functions. It's got gather, it's got trade phase, it's got convert goods to capital, update reputation, and snapshot. So I'm just building out the world. It has created functions. I continue doing this. Okay, so it's nearly done. It's pretty much finished. So as you can see, it's got set up a economics part where the simulation is telling us the strategy is fair trade, fair trader, which is 230. It's given it a number. Steady compounding through mutual trades. Tit for tat, resilient, punishes defectors. Partner seeker, alliance focused, lags early but builds. Defector, extracts short term but gets isolated. Hoarder, accumulates one good, can't convert it efficiently. The win-win mechanic is working. Agents need both resources type to convert goods into capital. Holders over specialize and their surplus goods rot. Defectors get excluded from trade networks. Cooperative agents maintain balance, compound faster. So run longer. So it's good. Animation shows 4 panels, world grid, agents colored by strategy, size by level, resource nodes pulsing, average wealth by strategy, the compounding curves diverge over time, corporation rate, how many trades are fair each step, event log, who leveled up, who traded with whom, what to explore next from here, change strategy counts, new strategy, opportunities, cooperates only when wealthy, wire up Claude agents to make strategy decisions dynamically instead of hard-coded rules. Here we go. So, I mean, it's not much at the moment, but it has created a trade arena with an agent-based simulation, and I see that there's, wow, okay, so if I hover, there's actual agents running underneath the hood, and you can see, you know, each of them have different strategies. They have a capital, they have goods, they have 0 XP, they have rep 50%, they have trades. So there's these variables. You can see there's a red one that's a hoarder, so you can see the different colors. I mean, this is super basic at the moment, but the fact that it has been able to just create a very simple map of this, and it's, you know, you can see the partner seeker, which is level 1 novice, capital 5, goods is that XP. So, you know, these are the starting points. All of them seem to have 0 XP. Since this is a brand new simulation, what I can do is I'm just exploring this. Okay, right, let's start. Oh, wow, look at that. So I just started this and it has gone and created a strategy. So rankings by average capital. Seems like partner seeker has amassed the most amount of wealth. Defectors, you know, the less. Fair trader, tit for tat, and the hoarder has the least amount. So what is this telling us? This is interesting. So you can see, you know, so the simulation has just run, and you've got the hoarder giving you level 4 is the strategist. You know, you've got the level 3, a merchant, a hoarder. Tit for tat is a merchant. So it's given defectors as a novice, merchant, capital, goods, and yeah, defector. Let's reset this, increase the speed. Let's see what it does. So it starts from this, you know, all over the place, actors just doing, you know, things. Let me just make this a bit larger so that it can it can be viewed, but you can see all the different actors. This is crazy that you can do this with Claude Code now. And I've just created a web version and it runs. So start. Okay, it has an event log. So it is Fair Trader, Defector, Defected. You know, it's given these event logs. Defector. So it's overall over time it has built up. You know, Defector seems to have built more wealth, average capital, Fair Trader. So this time, so average wealth by strategy, cooperation rate, and total. I'm going to continue exploring this. This is super amazing. Let's give this another run. This time, I'm going to just reduce the speed. I want to see how things work. So let's say 2, done, and you can see the different actors. You know, there's about 400 steps. I'm just building this game out. I'm also understanding this. I know this is a bit abstract at this point, but this is something I'm going to be just developing further. But you can see that every single agent has it's pointed each of these agents as per strategy. So, which is brilliant. So I'll be building this into a little bit more of a improvement, but this is great.